What's up, guys? All right, I got a quick one today about the types of passes you need to look for as a team. It's very important what passes you're looking for when you have the ball and when you're off the ball. You're trying to show people. It's the language that you communicate your style of play, to the other team about the game. So here I have some no-nos, some passes to avoid, some passes every time I see a player hit them, I'm like, bruh, no. And I think what's in common about all of these no-nos is, let's flip it. Let's say, what passes do we want to hit? It's pretty simple. You want to play a ball to space, or if you can't do that, you want to play a ball right to someone's foot. So all of these bad idea passes, they're all about space that isn't really there. Okay, so let's talk about the first one. I say avoid a flat pass between lines, aka a sandwich pass. And we see here the ball is in between the back line and the midfield line, and one midfielder, he's trying to pass it to another one. I see these all the time, and the idea is that both lines, when you hit this pass, both lines are going to attack the ball and collapse on it. You're basically, the guy you're passing to, he's going to get sandwiched from both sides, and the pass itself is going to get sandwiched. Someone from one of the center backs, the outside back, could step up, or a returning midfielder could step up, unless the weight of the pass is perfect. Now, sometimes you can get away with this if there's a lot of space in between the lines. Then it's kind of okay, but that's more so the exception to the rule. We want to be breaking lines with the passes. You don't want to hit a pass that stays in the middle and just travels between the lines, because the ball, the pass itself, it's about to get sandwiched. And instead, we want to do something like, we see number 9, the striker here, use him, play him as a wall pass. The ball goes to him, the defense collapses on him, and he can 1 or 2 touch to the other midfielder, and the pass will be successful. All right, so avoid those sandwich passes, those balls between lines. Okay, what next? I would say avoid a pass that goes to the sideline against a defensive diagonal line. Why is that? Because you are about to get squeezed to the sideline. And you can see here I have 2 examples of it. The top one is one I see all the time when you're running kind of like a 5v5 at the goal, and a midfielder will try to play the ball to space that isn't there in front of the winger. And this pass just never works. It's always behind the winger, or usually it's just very, very easy for the outside back to read and just step on the pass, or just meet the winger as soon as he gets the ball and kind of win a defensive 1v1 because the first touch will be bad. The space isn't there. There's no angle there. It's very easy for number 3 to step to it. Below, we see the situation where a keeper plays the ball directly to an outside back. I think this is a pass you have to avoid, especially when the outside back has not gotten past the midfield line. Check out that yellow diagonal line I drew there. When this outside back gets the ball, he's got very little he can do with it. He often can't turn because the pressure is there. He can't go inside against that diagonal line, and the passes backwards can be difficult too. So you have to be careful about the sideline. If there's an open guy on the sideline, boom, give him the ball. If there's open space on the sideline, put the ball in that space, let's run onto that ball. But if someone is guarded on the sideline, you have to be very careful because there's nothing that can really happen there. The defense is about to squeeze the ball to the sideline, and it's hard to pass out of that situation. Okay, and finally, this is in general, happens on a lot of parts of the field. You want to avoid a through ball or a third line pass that goes through a diagonal defensive line, as seen here. And the reason is it's pretty simple, because number 10 and number 11, both players, they could both try to pick the pass. So it's hard to get the weight of the pass right. There's not space there. The space is about to disappear, just like in all these other ones. Now, if you find 10 and 11, if they're flat, hit that pass, split them there. Or if you're in this situation, it's difficult. It's very tempting. You got to avoid the urge. You have to maybe take a skill dribble to try to move the defenders, or maybe you hit a ball to feet, like number 1 here could play number 3, and that will move the defenders, and maybe you can make them flat, remove the diagonal line, and then you could play through them. All right, so we're trying to avoid those passes. Instead, what do? We're looking to play ball to feet or ball to open space. There it is. We're looking to play through the lines or around the lines. And finally, when we get to the back line, just playing the space in the back line. So we're not really interested in passes between the lines. We're looking to break lines, pass through the lines. It's hard for the defense to react to those, or play around the lines because they just can't shift to those. So that's what we're looking to do, but then I have a bit of an issue, and that's that sometimes we know who's an open guy. We know who we're trying to get the ball to. They're clearly open, but one does not simply just pass to the open guys sometimes. And what the heck does this mean? It's because of the issue of the cover shadow. Sometimes someone's open, but the pass to them is blocked. So how do you get there? You have to find a link player, someone else to make a triangle, or to use a wall pass to get them to the open guy. And I have some examples I'm about to show you. There's the pass when a fullback is left by the winger, you can bounce off the DCM. Or when a DCM is open, the fullback can go outside in, bounce to him. Or, as we saw in the very first example, if you have an open attacking midfielder, you can wall pass off of a striker or a winger. So let's take a look at these situations. Okay, so like here's one. Very simple. Center back has the ball, and maybe he's getting pressed by the winger. Okay, he's getting pressed. Okay, the outside back, he's wide open. He's on the sideline, but it doesn't matter because he's wide open. But the winger knows what he's doing, and he leaves them in the cover shadow. So we know we're all trying to get it to the open guy. All 10 players, all 11 players on the field should have awareness of if there's a guy wide open. It's so simple. Take the free pass, get it to the open guy. But you can't hit the pass directly there. So if the DCM comes in here and can one touch with the right foot and play the ball right to him, you can go to feet, or you could play it to slightly in front of him, to that space in front of him, so he can take it on the dribble. So we know who the open guy is. We just had to find a bounce player to do so. Here's a reverse situation. Maybe the pass to number 8 has been blocked by 10, and maybe he's kind of pressed down some. Maybe there's nothing else to do. Okay, and so maybe we're trying to get it to number 6 here. Okay, so here's the situation. We're trying to get it to this defensive midfielder, but he's being guarded. 10, who's stepping to the ball, has left them in the cover shadow. Okay, now we can do the opposite of what we just did. If the fullback can check quickly, explosively to the ball, he might be able to play one touch through these guys. Notice they're not a diagonal line anymore. They'd be a diagonal line for the center back. This pass here is a trap pass because both players could make it. But if this guy checks down into this space and plays one touch, he'll be able to split them. Okay, let's talk about, say we were able to split them. Maybe they were playing flat. So boom, we split the line. We play this guy. Maybe they have one defensive midfielder, and he's stepping to the ball, right? And we know, we have a clear open defensive center midfielder. Or attacking midfielder. This happens all the time. So the guy's just floating in space. Or maybe he was floating back here, and when the through ball happened, he looked to break lines with his run as the defensive players were watching the ball with their popcorn out. So he's the wide open guy. But it's very difficult to pass to this guy. It'd be a pass between the lines, and you can't even do it there. But what do? Find the triangle. Boom, boom. We bounce. We wall pass off the striker. These guys would probably bite on the striker. Then we have an open gap. Oops. We can attack with the dribble and create some sort of 3v2 situation to attack. So those are some quick examples there. Just to recap, avoid that sandwich pass between lines, whether it's these two lines, or even the line between the midfield and the strikers. Watch out for that one. Avoid one to the sideline, to space that isn't there, because your wide player is guarded, right? The defense, they want to squeeze it to the sideline, so watch out. Don't hit that one. Try to play the space behind. Try to break lines with the ball. And finally, watch out for any defensive diagonal lines. They're difficult to play through. That's when you have to use maybe an extra touch or two on the dribble, or play ball to feet and play wall pass back and just move the ball around in simple passes to move the defense. As we say, the purpose is not moving the ball, it's moving the defenders. And when you avoid these passes and you play ball to open space, and when that's not there, you play ball to feet and you break lines and you play the space behind the defense, you play some beautiful soccer.